While we are still awaiting the full NPD report, we have some information on the sales of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And according to data handed to investors by the firm, sales of Infinite Warfare at retail were down 50% year over year in November. Now, according to some details which were helpfully provided by the Cowen analyst Doug Cruz, retail sales of the game came in about 17% below their expectations and sold close to 50% less than Black Ops 3 did in the same month. Of course, you may recall that back in November there was some figures flying around from GFK Chart Track, which says that sales for Infinite Warfare were down 45% year over year. However, there is something important to remember here, is that both NPD figures and GFK Chart Track figures are for physical game copies only and not digital. And not only that, we are still in the middle of the Christmas shopping season, so we will be seeing more people buying the game, for their kids or for their friends or, for themselves, as, people prepare for Christmas and all that good stuff. And the game will likely sell well long tail. However, it's still not particularly good that in comparison to Black Ops 3, the sales are down 50% and 17% under the Cowen firm's expectations. So, not exactly looking pretty so far for Infinite Warfare, which is a bit of a shame, because while I haven't played it yet myself, I've heard lots of good things about the single-player campaign. Not so much about the multiplayer, which for many is like the meat and potatoes of Call of Duty, but apparently the campaign is really, really good. But it could be a case of, as that goes through the grapevine, people hear about it, they might be like, oh, okay, I'll give it a try. Of course, that's if they're interested in the single-player campaign. For many people, Call of Duty is basically just the multiplayer, and they don't care about the single-player. So, while it might sell more as the time goes on, more and more people about, whether it's a good game from their friends and reviewers and YouTubers and streamers that they respect, that sort of thing, we're probably still going to be looking at an underperforming game because, well, it's underperforming pretty badly in comparison to Black Ops 3. Maybe a price cut in the future could help. I'm not saying rip Infinite Warfare because, well, it's still Call of Duty, and I'm sure it will still sell well in the long run. I'm just pointing out that the fact that it's selling so much more poorly than Black Ops 3 doesn't point to an overall healthy sales in comparison to previous Call of Duties. I'm sure they're still making money hand over fist, but having a mainline entry into the series perform this badly is not exactly going to be good, even if they are technically making money. It's obviously going to make them rethink their strategy and probably going to affect the development of the next Call of Duty, maybe even the one after that, because of course they do kind of go in cycles of one developer develops one and then while the others are working on theirs. So we might not see the impact felt just yet, but undoubtedly these figures are being paid attention to, and while they of course do look at the long-term picture for a game, for many publishers and developers the launch period is the most critical period and what they look at and rely upon the most. I mean, I know it's a different company, but let's not forget those infamous comments from Square Enix where they were like, yeah, 6 million sales isn't enough and all this. So while, they still did pretty well for Tomb Raider, it kind of points to an issue within the industry that 6 million sales isn't enough. So it's going to be interesting to see the full sales, of course, from the NPD, and if we have any comments regarding Infinite Warfare from anyone close to the development and publishing of that game. Doubtful, but still, it's going to be interesting to get a long-term picture. Of course, I think I'm going to be keeping an eye on it, at least on the Steam charts. I can't really keep an eye on the console unless they want to, of course, release those figures publicly. But we can at least see how it fares on PC over the longer term as we move out of the busy Christmas period into the fairly busy January, February/March period, and of course then into the summer drought. So, there you have it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.